Hey guys. Welcome back to my channel. Hope you're well. So as you can probably tell from the title, I'm going to be discussing my thoughts and sharing my opinions on the 4th generation of K-pop in this video. Even though I know a lot of y'all 4th gen stans will come at me with pitchforks regardless, I am going to preface the video with a disclaimer. First of all, I just want to make it clear that nothing I say about any of the groups or 4th gen as a whole implies that they lack talent. I think most competent people can see that that clearly isn't the case. Secondly, everything I state about the groups and of course about 4th generation as a whole, is simply my opinion and how I feel about these things. We don't have to agree on anything, and just because I dislike something or my opinion does not match with yours, doesn't mean I'm being disrespectful. If you are sensitive and can't stand anyone disliking your faves for any reason, this video probably isn't for you because hint hint, I'm not the biggest fan of 4th gen. So please click off if you aren't ready to hear an opposing perspective. Alright. Now that that's out of the way, let's get right into the video. So before I really discuss how I feel about 4th gen, I thought I should probably give you an idea of where I stand in terms of my actual knowledge of the groups and the music. The 4th gen groups I am familiar with, and by familiar with, I mean I have listened to some of their music, are ITZY, Stray Kids, ENHYPEN and Text kind of, aespa, 80s, and Everglow. I have primarily listened to title tracks from these groups for the most part, and only a few B-sides here and there. I have also watched stage performances and variety show appearances, for some groups more than others. There are definitely some groups I like, but if I really think about it, I don't think I would call myself a stan of any 4th gen group. Hopefully that gives you a good idea of where I'm at. Now I understand that a lot of you might feel like I haven't given these groups a chance or 4th gen a chance because I've only heard some title tracks from 7 groups. But hear me out. The fact that I haven't been able to get more into these groups is part of the reason why I don't really like 4th gen. I'll explain later in another section in the video. Despite this though, if you still feel like I'm making a judgment without truly giving these groups a chance, let me know what you would suggest I do in the comments so I have a clearer picture. So I had put up a community post asking you guys to share your thoughts on 4th gen, and Borahi Bitch pretty much summed up how I feel in this comment. 4th gen is unoriginal, nothing makes them stand out, and this will stagnate the growth of K-pop when BTS and Blackpink leave. Small correction there though, BTS ain't going nowhere. But that's besides the point lol so anyway. And a lot of others shared my sentiments as well. But I'm going to tell you what the specific issues I have are. First of all, of course, it's the unoriginality. Nothing about any 4th gen groups I have come across stands out in any way at all. The concepts are recycled, repetitive, and sometimes, it even feels like the idols don't actually care about their concepts and are just performing what they are given. Everything feels so bland. And I understand that is how K-pop works to a great extent, but if a group does not give a shit about their concept at all or even dislikes it, that disconnect becomes very obvious and is a turn-off for me. Also the repetition isn't just within a group's comebacks only, but it's across groups in general. All the girl groups just feel like they're different parts of the same whole, and it's the same with boy groups. Very few groups are actually doing something unique and original, that actually stands out. And even with groups that are versatile and do different concepts every comeback, it has a very manufactured, lacking creativity feel to it, which brings me to my second point. I don't know if it's just me, but I haven't seen a lot of people talking about this. But 4th gen has this very manufactured feel, in a way that makes it feel extremely unstimulating. Everything just feels so calculated and just boring. I don't know how else to explain it. There isn't much that excites me or makes me want to stick around. Please let me know if you feel like this too lol. It's hard to articulate it, but it just feels so fake. Robotic. Mindless. Pumped out of a factory. Please tell me you know what I'm saying lol. And I've also noticed this as a general trend across 4th gen, but a lot of lives and member interactions feel super scripted and forced, and that definitely adds to the lost interest. This is the reason why I am not able to bring myself to explore B-sides or anything else. With K-pop, I have always only listened to a group's B-sides if I found a title track to be intriguing enough. That's just how I have done it for groups I don't stan yet but am interested in getting into. And then when I stan the group, I listen to the entire album when it drops every time. With 4th Gen, that just hasn't happened. Not much has made me go, oh, this is amazing, I want more from this group. Let's check out the album. So these are my general feelings towards 4th Gen. So in this section I'm going to discuss some of the most popular and successful 4th Gen groups, and why I have struggled to get into them or what I dislike about them and why. Let's start with ITZY and Stray Kids. Now I know I'm probably going to come across as very fussy and like I'm complaining about nonsensical things, but everyone has different tastes, so respect it and move on, lol. So I can't quite put my finger on it, but I've always had this weird thing with JYP groups. For some reason, I just struggle to get into them. And I am 100% sure this is just me, lol. If you relate, please comment below. I truly doubt anyone will. But basically, to me, all JYP groups have this underlying, distinct vibe. And by that I'm in no way saying all JYP groups sounds the same or something, but I dunno, they all just have this vibe, and I can't really pinpoint anything specific. But that is the reason why I have always struggled to stan JYP groups right away, or even at all. I only recently started actually liking Twice. I couldn't get into them for the longest time, even though they are one of the most iconic 3rd Gen groups and probably one of the most iconic groups of all time. And they still aren't like my favorite or anything. So yeah. ITZY and Stray Kids. The most popular 4th Gen JYP groups. With ITZY, I honestly thought a lot of their initial releases were very mediocre. Every time they had a comeback, I would listen, but I never found myself coming back to listen again, or to listen to other stuff from them. And to be completely honest, some songs were even kind of annoying. Yes, I'm talking about Not Shy, lol. But recently, they have started to grow on me slowly, since Mafia in the Morning. With Loco, I didn't like it at first. It sounded generic, but in the last few weeks it has grown on me. So I guess it's taking me a lot longer to warm up to these groups and actually get into them. Nothing jumps out or attracts me right away. With Stray Kids, I find myself loving their releases, bopping hard for a few weeks, but then I never listen to the song again. That's what happened with God's Menu, Backdoor, Thunderous, and even their older stuff like Elevator and Mirror. I've heard some B-sides, but again it's like I listen to them a few times and then the flame just dies out and there's nothing there. I also find a lot of their music to be noise music, and I know this is subjective but noise music is not really my thing. I'd have to be in a specific mood to want to listen to songs like that on loop, and a lot of 4th Gen boy groups seem to be making either noise music or more auto-tune heavy stuff. With aespa, I actually really like them. A lot of people did not like Next Level and Savage, but I loved them. I like that they are doing something different, though I am not the biggest fan of the AI concept. But that is just a personal preference. They have a lot of potential and their concept is undoubtedly unique. But again, it's kind of hard to listen to songs with lines like Nevis we love you lol. Like I feel like their concept is shoved in your face so much that it kind of reduces the enjoyability of the music. And so I haven't been able to get into their B-sides yet either. I've heard a few, but nothing really sounded that interesting to be honest. With Text and Enhypen, they stand out to me in terms of creativity and originality, and I really do appreciate their concepts. But again, nothing about their music is exciting to me or sparks further interest. It's kind of like how it is with Stray Kids where I listen to some songs for a bit, but then get bored and move on, and those songs are never enough to get me to the point where I want to go further and explore B-sides. It all just feels very bland. With everything I said, believe it or not, there are actually a few groups that I like lol. My favorite 4th Gen group would have to be Everglow. I feel like they have released banger after banger since debut. And every time they have a comeback, I always think there's no way they can top that. And then boom, they do. A lot of people say that their concept is girl crush, which is basic, and I get why people see them as a girl crush group, but to me, I always saw them as a group with a cool space concept. That is what drew me to them. The Everglow universe is truly so fascinating. The fact that they're from the future and have come back in time to save a damaged Earth that is suffering, is literally such an incredible concept. The cyberpunk, sci-fi-esque kind of vibe is right up my alley. And another major reason I really like them, is that though you can clearly connect their songs to the concept, it never feels like the concept owns the songs. The messages in their songs are applicable across a wide range of things, so to me, that actually makes the songs way more enjoyable to listen to. Unlike with aespa, for example, sometimes their concept overpowers their great music and can totally throw you off. At least that is the case with me. If aespa toned down their concept in their title tracks and their lyrics were more flexible, I would be close to standing like I am with Everglow. Everglow's songs are empowering, and have great messages like fighting for the underdog, female empowerment, and so on. I haven't seen any other 4th gen group do it like them at all. Of course, there are issues as well, which is why I wouldn't call myself a true stan yet. Like the whole Mia and Friends thing is very hard to ignore. It is getting better, but if you compared the lines and screen time of Onda and Mia in their older songs, the gap is unbelievable. There were several instances where the other members felt like backup dancers for a soloist rather than a group, and that is really not it. But yeah. That is where I stand with Everglow, and honestly with the way things are going, I might even stan in the near future. Another group I really like is 80s. When I first heard Pirate King, I thought it was such a strong debut. Like I actually couldn't believe that was a debut song, and that is what initially attracted me to the group. Another thing for me is that member interactions feel very authentic with them, and they are very entertaining to watch. For example, I absolutely loved Jesse's interview with 80s. It was literally so much fun to watch. Kudos to Jesse for being a big part of that, of course, but I really felt like I got to see 80s in that interview. In terms of their music, after Pirate King I didn't exactly follow or keep up with them, but if I saw a new release in my YouTube recommendations or something, I would listen to it. And honestly, there's nothing I have not liked so far. Their more recent releases, Turbulence and Deja Vu, showed versatility, and that they can do more than just super energetic choreographies and hard-hitting songs. I haven't gotten that much into their music yet, but I am interested and would like to. So yeah. These are the 2 4th gen groups I genuinely like, and would not mind exploring further at all. Now there are a few things I want to make sure I address here before all the 4th gen stans come for me in the comments. I'm one of those people that was introduced to K-pop through 3rd gen, and honestly I really do believe 3rd gen has one of the most diverse groups in K-pop ever. There are so many concepts, so much variety, so many iconic groups. You have Twice, Blackpink, Mamamoo, BTS of course, Dreamcatcher, NCT, and Red Velvet. So many more too, but literally just the ones I listed out are so different from each other and just so incredible in their own way. 3rd gen as a whole has been a lot more experimental and creative, and a lot of groups even embodied their concept to the point where they basically own them now. It's almost like some concepts are trademarked by these 3rd gen groups. Even with 4th gen currently rising, the groups that are the most popular in the world right now are 3rd gen, and that kind of says a lot. So of course, with 4th gen picking up these concepts now, it is obviously going to feel very unoriginal, recycled, and repetitive. What I'm trying to get at is, 3rd gen has set the bar very high, and a lot of people that are into K-pop now, like myself, were introduced to it via 3rd gen. So to a degree, there is this inevitable bias we all have, and also it is very hard not to compare 4th gen to 3rd gen and expect them to live up to or at least meet their standards to a certain extent, and I understand that this is not really fair. 4th gen is under a lot of pressure and has a lot to live up to. Also, K-pop has become extremely corporate and marketing focused, and mainly care about capitalizing on the popularity explosion from 3rd gen. The focus of companies has gone to expansion and shortcuts to popularity. I really feel like, The goal is no longer to put out good music with fresh and interesting concepts, but to put out stuff that will get popular fast, and that's it. So things have changed a lot since 3rd gen debuted, and that is important to acknowledge when judging 4th gen. I just wanted to make it clear that I understand I have this bias. However, I still feel like 4th gen judged without being compared to anyone else feels bland, boring, and lacking something as a whole. I wanted to end this video by saying most 4th gen groups are still rookies and have a long way to go. With how things have changed in the K-pop industry, 4th gen idols are also facing a lot of problems that are new and out of their control. For example, companies have started to debut idols way too early with not enough training, which is not fair because they clearly have potential, but just were not ready to debut. There are many other things that the changes in the industry as a whole have made 4th gen difficult for a lot of people to like. I understand that completely. I also wanted to say that sure, maybe I'm just picky and overanalyze too many things and therefore make it harder for myself to enjoy a group and stan. And sure, maybe my standards for K-pop groups are too high. But I'm not about to lower them, because I will only stan groups I thoroughly enjoy. Even if I have a bias, even if things have changed and that is how K-pop will be from now on, even if I look at too many things, it doesn't matter. I would still rather have certain 3rd gen albums on repeat, despite that being the case for years, than get into certain 4th gen groups. That is just how it is. In K-pop in general, I think people need to respect that everyone has different tastes, because I see way too many people coming at people who aren't a fan of their faves music, and that is just not it. Alright. That was a low-key rant, but now that it's over, I'd like to say thank you so much for watching the video. Leave your thoughts below as usual. I would absolutely love to read what you all have to say. Also, if you have video ideas, please feel free to leave them in the comments. See you in the next one.